Today, I'm going to be Pking with the best 3 deep wilderness setups, and we're going to find out which one is the most viable. All 3 of these setups are amazing and they do a ton of DPS. We're going to start off with the Void Zarya crossbow setup. We're going to also switch over to the Armadillio Ancestral setup, and of course, the Crystal Ancestral setup. Each of these have different price ranges and different reasons that they're good. Some are cheaper than others, some are more DPS, some are more tanky, but today we're going to be trying out all 3, and we're going to get to the bottom of whichever one is the greatest. But before we get into the video, I just want to remind you guys we are going to be doing another Dragon Claw giveaway on this video, so if you would like a chance at some free Dragon Claws, just leave your username down below in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And without further ado, let's get right into it because we've got a lot of loot to get through. To start off, I'm going to be using the Void Tribrid setup. I'm actually a huge fan of this setup, even though I don't use it as much as the others, but the reason for that is because you can hit extremely high using the Zarya crossbow, and you can stack it with the special attack from the Ancient Godsword, so you can actually put out tons of damage after lowering your opponent's HP with the special attack. The Blood Splat stack with a bullet hit can basically one-hit anybody, and if you get them off guard, it's a guaranteed kill. Okay, that one there just came down to the wire, but luckily we ended up clutching the kill. Honestly, this setup is so squishy. When you PK in Void, you have pretty much no defense bonuses apart from your shields, so you have to be very cautious and very careful when doing these types of fights. And let's go take a look at what we got from the chest. Oh, okay, that's actually not bad. That's actually a pretty good kill. 86 mil, I mean, that's like basically a free pair of declaws. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. In the last few months, I've been working hard to increase my production quality for my YouTube videos, but I really haven't had the most amount of time to follow different tutorials and upgrade my skill set. Luckily, I ended up coming across Skillshare, and they were loaded with tons of different video tutorials and guides that helped me get right on track. With many video editing options available, I found that they were all put together and neatly organized in chapters, so I could learn exactly what I needed to know quickly and efficiently. I found a course for Sony Vegas that helped me learn step by step how to master the program and edit my videos with ease. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes suitable for anyone who loves to learn and wants to master new skills. It's completely ad-free, so you can keep yourself productive, accountable, and also avoid distractions. But just remember to come back each week because there's new courses that drop frequently and you'll never run out of things to learn and discover. For anyone who's not fluent in English, Skillshare is also subtitled in a variety of different languages, so no matter where you're located, there's really no excuse to not pick up a new skill. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video, and if you would like to try Skillshare absolutely free, just follow the link down below in the description or go to the URL that you see here on the screen, and the first 1,000 people will get a 1-month free trial courtesy of Skillshare. Alright, after that last kill, I decided to switch it up. We're going to grab the Ancestral Crystal setup. This is basically max DPS. I don't think that anything in the game is better damage than this. I mean, it's not as tanky. It's kind of in between the Armadillio setup and the Void setup, but the DPS that you can put out in this setup is amazing, and this is probably my go-to in almost every situation. And that right there is why I love the Ancient Godsword. The special attack just adds such a different type of variety to getting kills in Deep Wilderness that a lot of other spec weapons don't have. Small increases in damage and stacking it over time can end up landing you a kill even when your opponent is praying melee. A lot of the other weapons, they just do a bunch of damage or they hit really hard. This one here, you can use it very effortlessly in order to stack damage and combo your opponent out, even though the hit splats aren't as crazy as say an AGS or a D-Claws. The loot for this kill was actually much smaller than I thought it was going to be. I mean, 55 mil is still pretty solid, but when your opponent's using Void, you don't actually get too many items. I mean, you only really get the parchments and whatever their weapons and shields are. Next up is the Armadillio Zarya crossbow Ancestral setup. This one here is really good as well. You can do a ton of DPS, and it's definitely the most tanky out of the three. I'm going to run up to Chins and see if I can find anybody up here to kill. Okay, that is actually so embarrassing. I tried to shift drop my anglerfish so I had enough inventory space to put the Ancient Godsword on, and I held the key down for too long and accidentally ended up dropping the Ancient Godsword as well. The guys I was trying to kill ended up looting it, and they basically just clowned me for 5 minutes straight about how they got a free 60 mil off me. I really gotta go change my shift drop settings. After I bought my Ancient Godsword back, I decided to go to the Rev Caves again, and I found this guy named Nature Strip who was in a max set. The timing and calculation on that was absolutely perfect. I ended up getting a huge 50 Godsword whack as soon as he changed his prayer, and we got a pretty nice loot from that as well for 62 mil. Big AGS spec to finish up the fight, but honestly, if my movement wasn't perfect and that last hit didn't kill him, he had the position to anti-stack me and take me out for nearly 500 mil. The thing is with this setup, you can do a lot of damage and you have some decent defensive bonuses, but the risk is absolutely ridiculous. Ancestral and Armadillio alone is nearly 300 mil. With everything else on top of it, it comes around to 400 to 500. So when you use this setup, you definitely need to be a little bit more cautious than I just was. Quick side note, if you guys are enjoying the video today, just remember that I do live stream every single day on Twitch. I'm always doing Deep Wilderness Pking. We do giveaways. I PK on different account builds, peers, zerkers, mains, and I really do love and enjoy getting to know my audience and continuing to do PvP, even though the state of the game is terrible right now. I also competed in every single Deadman mode, and I will plan on doing that in the future Deadman modes as well. So if you enjoy the videos, you want to get to know me a little bit better, have any questions about PKing, or you just want to come and see what it's all about, just check out twitch.tv/abyss or follow the link down below in the description because I'm going to be live probably the day that you watch this video and every day coming forward. I switched back to the crystal setup and moved over to the Chaos Altar. This is probably the only other spot that Wilderness is actually active for Deep Wilderness Tribrid Pking other than the Revenant Caves, and I came across this guy who has a name that I absolutely couldn't pronounce even if I knew 16 different languages, but we were both in the same gear, so it's going to be a pretty good matchup. Okay, I know that RuneScape is an RNG based game, but that there was utterly ridiculous. I must have hit this guy 20 different times with the ability to KO him, even proccing his redemption prayer, and for some reason we just couldn't get the final blow. Lucky for me, I ended up running into him a second time shortly after. That was one of the most stressful kills I've ever gotten on this game, and if you guys didn't already know, you can use mithril seeds to maneuver one tile west, even when you're frozen. However, if there is a mithril seed underneath you already, you cannot replant over top of it, and that means you cannot move. If you guys notice, when I killed this guy, he actually had a seed planted underneath me. However, his movement was a little bit off, and he accidentally stepped out, which allowed me to get the final freeze. If he didn't do that, he would have gotten away 100% because of the PJ timer, but luckily for me, we ended up getting a kill, and the loot was worth exactly 100 mil. I also wanted to try out one other setup, which is a Dharok Nightmare setup, which is going to be very useful depending on the person I'm fighting. Usually when you're in Dharok Tribrid, people can't pray melee because obviously you can hit extremely high with Dharoks on low hit points, but if you throw the Nightmare Staff into the equation, that means you have two combat styles to hit high numbers, usually in the 70+ range. And that actually worked out exactly as planned. I might actually make a full video trying this setup out and seeing how many kills I can get. The reason for that is it's actually a pretty cheap setup compared to most standard setups nowadays. And on top of that, I think that no one really PKs in this gear, so I might be able to catch a lot of people by surprise. And that is it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through until the end. Also, if you guys didn't notice, I'm using a new mic. I just bought this one and I'm hoping that it's much better for YouTube. Also, guys, I'm going to be doing another merch drop coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Check out all the links down below in the description. Enter the Dragon Claw giveaway if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.